Welcome to the Path to Mindset Mastery. My name is Brad Bizjack. I am a mindset strategist and coach, inspirational speaker, and creator of the online mindset course, Appreciation Academy. And I am so excited to chat with you today about the number one thing that is going to make or break your 2019 goals. It's something that you already know of, it's something you've already heard of, but I'm going to talk about it in a very different way from probably what you're used to, and that is persistence. That is sticking with it through to see it all the way through. And there's a couple things that are going to get in the way of that that are going to prevent you from getting there. So first, we're going to talk through what those roadblocks are. It's different limiting beliefs you have, other people's opinions, stuff like that. And then we're going to show you a plan. I'm going to show you a plan on how you can create the life that you want in 2019, so you're not just spinning your wheels over and over again. I went through a period of time where I wanted success so bad. I wanted to feel successful. I wanted the money, the time, the freedom, and every single time I tried, it felt like nothing was working. And I didn't understand why. I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing, and it seemed like other people were flying past me and I just stayed stuck. Like these trainings weren't working, even though it seemed like they were working for other people, and I had this negative self-talk, these limiting beliefs holding me back that I didn't even realize were there. So persistence is one of the things that I use to stick with it during those tough times when things weren't working. And I'm going to talk about persistence in a different way. So first thing with persistence, what's something that gets in the way of you sticking with your big goals? And ask yourself first, when's the last time you've actually set big goals? When's the last time you set a goal that is so big that it scares you? Not like a realistic goal, not a goal that you know you can achieve. Think about this. There's a point where you realize that if you set a bigger goal that's much harder to achieve, you're going to go all out for it. You're going to play life on a different level. And what's so cool is that you're going to get so much further along than if you go after a goal that you absolutely know you can already achieve. So I challenge you to go after really, really big goals. What's going to get in the way of those big goals once you've set them? Other people's opinions, the way others think of you. Think about this. When you are going after goals, most people are going to think you're crazy. Most people won't believe in you. Most people don't think you can do this. In fact, a lot of you that follow my podcast are people that own businesses, are people that want to create big things out of your life and your business, and you don't have the spousal support. You don't have the belief from your friends, and like you're afraid to approach people because there's this stigma behind a business owner. It's too risky. Starting that restaurant is risky. Starting that online business is risky, and they don't show that belief to you, and they try to hold you back, and they don't uplift you in the way that you need, the support that you need to get to your goals. So remember one thing, most of the world doesn't have what you want, so don't listen to most of the world's opinion. That's so important to understand. They don't have what you want. Most of the world is not happy, is not fulfilled, is not going after their biggest dreams. Most of the world is just getting by and stressed out every single day and going to a job that they dislike, and they're settling for less than they could really be. So don't take advice from most of the world. In fact, look where most of the world is going and sprint the opposite direction. That's what I did with my life, and when I did it, I was instantly met with resistance because what I did was different. What I did was weird. And that's why we want to fit in. We want to feel love from other people. So when they don't show that love to you, it kind of feels like you're stuck. It kind of feels like you're not enough. But the thing is, you don't need other people's validation and approval in order to succeed in life. In fact, sometimes the people that are the closest to you are the ones that don't support you the most. Have you ever noticed that? That's not saying they don't love you. It's them trying to protect you from pain because they've never gone after something big. It's like when someone says, be realistic. Here's the thing about realism. Realism is the fastest traveled road to mediocrity. Realists are right most of the time with their assumptions and what you can and can't do. But here's the thing about an optimist versus a realist. When an optimist goes after a goal, an unrealistic goal, they'll probably fail. And the realist was probably right. The realist was probably going, that's never going to work. You won't get it. And so the realist won't even go after the goal. The optimist will go after the goal, the unrealistic goal, and they'll probably fail once or twice. They'll probably fail 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And what happens then is they have such an optimistic personality and they believe that they can achieve whatever they want, so they try again, even though it's unrealistic. And then they try again, and then they try again, and then they try again until they get what they want. So realism is the fastest traveled road to mediocrity because a realist won't try what an optimist believes can happen. So I challenge you to be optimist as you're going into 2019. And a lot of times we get all worried thinking like we need to be successful now. We need to have this $1 million business now. We need this just huge mansion and be debt free right now. And if we don't have those things, we feel frustrated, almost like our happiness is dependent on a goal. And when your happiness is dependent on your 2019 goals, that's not fair to you, because you'll never feel fulfilled in the way that you desire. You're winning at life and feel like you're losing because the scorecard you're using to measure success is unfair, because it only allows you to feel happy if the next thing happens. And that's setting yourself up for failure. Achievement without gratitude is total failure. Achievement without loving the struggle is total failure. And most things you try won't work. That needs to be okay. So give yourself a break and realize that it's going to be okay either way. Let go of that deadline on success. Let go of that deadline of having $1 million house. Let go of that deadline of having that debt-free sign, whatever it is. Let go of all that. Have the goal of achieving it, but it's not I need to do it by this date or I am screwed. It's not I need to do it by this date or I can't be happy. If you don't get to your goals by a certain date, that's okay. Think about the productive years of your life. You are probably a productive human being, a member of society, and this could be off, age 22 to 75. Would you agree with that? 22 to 75. 53 years of productive years where you can actually contribute to society, or you can do so before your health starts to decline and after you're an asshole from college, right? That's typically what it is. 22 to 75, in some people's case 25 to 75, right? But you get the point. 22 to 75, 53 years of productive work that you have. And most of you are probably about, 30? I think most of the people that follow me are right around 30 years old, maybe a little younger, maybe a little bit older. That means that you have used 8 of your productive years and you have 45 to go. Over 5 times more left to go in your productive years. If you're 40 years old and you're listening to this podcast, you've used 18 years and you still have 35 years to go. If you are 50 years old and you've used 28 years of your productive years, you still have 25 to go. You're just over halfway as far as productive years of your life. So chill, have some patience and give yourself a break, because it's going to be okay either way. And if you have that persistence, patience and persistence, I think that is the biggest key with this. Having patience in how long it takes you to get to your goals, but sticking with it no matter what so you do get to your goals. If you have that vibe of it's going to be okay either way, and I'm going to stick with it until I do achieve, you will get to what you want. But there is a way to get there faster, a way to persist through all of the bullshit of success where you feel like things aren't working, where you feel like things are going downhill. And I've learned this from my mentor, Tony Robbins. I give him all the credit for this. This is where I learned it from. It's called a results-focused, purpose-driven, massive action plan, an RPM plan. I learned this from him, a results-focused, purpose-driven, massive action plan. So what does that mean? Results focus. A lot of times we make these big to-do lists and we need to check off our to-do list, and that's what makes us feel successful and happy. But here's the thing. Have you ever checked off as a to-do list and you get all the way through it and you're still not happy? There's a reason for that. It's because it's not going to fulfill you because you don't have a result you're going for. So you need to pick the result you're going for first. Results focus. So when's the last time you ask yourself, what do I want? Instead of I just want to get all this stuff done, throughout the day. I want to make sure I'm feeling happy today, whatever it is. No, you need to pick a goal, an outcome, something you're going towards, or else you're never going to feel fulfilled at the end of the day. Because if you have a goal or an outcome that you're going towards and you check off 5 of those things on your list, you're still going to feel fulfilled because you're going towards what you want. So what is a result that you want? You can do this for a day, you can do this for a date, you can do this for anything. But if you do this, as you persist through the goals, you're going to stick with it, and you'll see why as I get towards the end of this plan. But results focus. So number 1 is, what do you want? What is the outcome you are looking for? When was the last time, instead of what do I have to do, ask yourself, what's the outcome I want? It's a totally different way of life when you can say, what's the outcome I want? So ask yourself, with your 2019 goals, what are the outcomes I want? Or pick one. What's the outcome that I want? The main outcome, if you were to pick one. And then once you have your outcome that you want, results focused, purpose driven is number 2. P for purpose driven. Why do you want that? What's the emotion behind it? If you're ever going to go after a goal with full intensity and you're going to persist through all those times where things kind of slow you down and people are getting in your way and they're telling you can't do this, you need a purpose, you need a why, you need a driver, you need something that's going to uplift you during those times when things seem to go downhill. So pick an outcome and then pick a purpose. When you have enough reasons, you'll go after your goal. Write this down. Reasons come first, answers come second. Reasons come first, answers come second. Okay, so what's the reason for that outcome? Instead of looking for the answer to happiness and saying, I'll be happy when I get to a goal, no, what is the reason you want to achieve that goal? What is it going to make you feel? How is your life going to be different when you achieve it? So pick your outcome, then pick your purpose-driven, the reason you want it, the deep why behind it, and then create a game plan. Then what you're going to do is you're going to think of all of the action steps that will lead you towards that goal. Instead of saying, what do I need to do that day? You're going to make a list of all these action steps that could get you to that outcome. And chances are some of the things that you had on your to-do list before are going to disappear because you have direction of where you're going. And when you know what you want and the direction you want to go, the how tends to reveal itself, right? If you know where you're going and why it's so important to you, you'll figure out how. You don't need to know how before you start. You just need to know where you're going, why it's important to you, and have a brainstorming session of all the action steps that could possibly get you to that goal. Once you brainstorm all of those action steps, you're going to take a look at that list and pick the top 20% most impactful things that will actually get you closer to that goal. Because chances are if you pick the top 20% of those things, you're going to find one major one that's going to make all the rest of them happen. And when you do that, after you pick that, you got to take massive action on it. And you have to persist through all the stuff that's not working. And here's where most people go wrong. Most people go wrong by trying it and then failing. Something you need to understand is that most of what you try on your pathway to whatever your version of success is not going to work. I would say probably 99% of what you try is not going to work. And that might hurt your feelings, but it's just the way life is. And if your happiness is attached to the way a goal goes, you're just setting yourself up for depression and anxiety. That's all you're doing. So you need to realize that most of what you try isn't going to work. So detach from the outcome and focus on the process of getting there. So if you have this huge outcome that you want and this big reason why you want to achieve it, and you have the top 20% of your action steps picked out and you're scheduling that into your day as your to-do list, what do you do if something doesn't work? Like, how do you approach that? Do you just keep trying it? This is what I call the definition of insanity, right? You keep trying the same thing over and over and over and you expect a different result. It doesn't work that way. I made that mistake for a while. I would try something and it didn't work, but I kept doing it. And I was like, no, this is going to happen. It's going to happen. Have the vision for the life that you want, but be flexible in your approach. So when you go after a big goal and you pick your top 20%, you're taking massive action and you're doing it long enough to get results, you have this awareness of the results you're actually getting, noticing what you're getting, and it's not in line with the outcome you want, you need to change your approach. Change the approach to the way you go about relationships. If a relationship is your goal, change your approach in the way that you go about your job if your job is a goal. Change your approach in the way you go about saving money if saving money is your goal. Change your approach in the way you're doing things. And then if that doesn't work, when you try it for a long enough period of time and you notice the results you're getting, what do? You change your approach again. And if that doesn't work, what do? You change your approach again. And if that doesn't work, what do? You change your approach again. How many times do you change your approach until you get what you want? As many times as it fucking takes. That's how often you have to change your approach. When you notice the results you're getting and you switch up your action to go along with the outcome that you want. That is how you persist through all this stuff. But you need to realize that you're going to have to change your approach a lot, because most of what you try doesn't work. And this is the only thing that's going to determine if you're going to hit your goals or not, is if you persist through it. A lot of times people will start something, but they don't really make a real decision to stick with it. They basically say, I'm going to try until this gets uncomfortable. But if you actually want success to happen, you need to go through all of those periods of time when things aren't working and realize that every single time something doesn't work, you are not a failure. You failed at something. It's just feedback. Failure is only feedback. It's life saying, hey, this didn't work. Let's try another tweak to get what we want. So if you do this and you apply this, a magical thing will happen. Instead of what most people do, which is shrink their dreams down to the size of their current income or life, you get to build your income in your life to the size of your dreams because you're going to stick with it through all the naysayers, through all those productive years of your life, and you're going to be patient and you're going to have a game plan to get what you want and to persist through when things aren't working. When you do that, I promise you, success becomes easier because you're not so attached to it happening right now. Because when you're attached to it happening right now and then you're allowing yourself to be happy, how does that come off to everything? It screws everything up. It slows you down, and then you don't get the feedback that you need in order to live the life that you're meant to live. So my challenge to you as you go through this is to focus on a results-focused, purpose-driven, massive action plan, and you will get the results you want if you persist through it all the way through with positive emotions, being patient, and realizing that it takes time and you're going to need to change your approach because you're going to be wrong most of the time. So I hope you found this valuable today. If you found this valuable, I go through this in detail in my program Appreciation Academy. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you check it out, that you go for it. That is an entire phase, is focus on creating your ideal life, what you want. But for now, hope you have an amazing day. Thank you for tuning into the Path to Mindset Mastery, and make sure to share this podcast if you found it valuable today. I'll talk to you soon.